Okay, did a judge just make it legal for everyone to have a machine gun? There's more to this story, and some parts of it you'd never, ever guess. So what happened? Well, the case is USA versus Justin Bryce Brown. Justin Brown possessed a machine gun. He's the plaintiff in the case. That's it. That's all he did. He possessed it. In fact, the decision even said, quote, it criminalizes the mere possession of such weapons without regard to how the possessor uses them. So it wasn't the act of buying one. It wasn't the act of making one. You know, it wasn't commerce. This was strictly possession. He possessed a machine gun. So the case is only about a law that makes the possession of a machine gun illegal. And it's an interesting case, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of ins and outs. Like I said, normally we like to touch on things, you know, and just kind of give you a taste. This is one where I highly recommend you go to the Four Boxes Diner with Mark Smith. Just look that up on YouTube, and we'll put the link in the description. And spend the 15, 20 minutes listening to Mark Smith, because there's a lot of ins and outs and what have yous in this. The judge ruled that, hey, this person shouldn't be guilty, shouldn't face any kind of criminal charges by merely possessing a machine gun. But this judge is also fairly anti-Second Amendment. It was almost a snarkily written judgment. And I got to tell you, this thing is so narrow and focused, I'm not sure how much this thing's going to help us. So can you legally possess your own machine gun because it is considered an arm? The case does say you cannot ban arms, which is true, unless they can figure out how to make the arm be considered, quote-unquote, dangerous and unusual. And frankly, the definition of dangerous and unusual is a bit of a moving target. And it varies, depends on who you're talking about. You know, just the concept of dangerous. You know, are guns dangerous? My gun's not dangerous. You know, it's very safe to fire and use.
You know what's very dangerous?
What's that?
Mandolin slicer.
Well, what?
A mandolin slicer.
What is a mandolin slicer?
It's a kitchen tool that you slice vegetables and things with.
That sounds unusual, too.
Dangerous.
So, okay, so can you legally possess your own machine gun because it's considered an arm now because of this decision? If you do it in Mississippi, where this case originated, and if you get busted by the ATF, I don't know about state, but if you get busted by the ATF, and they only charge you with possession of a machine gun, and you spend the money on a lawyer, and you make it to Judge Reeves, he's the judge that wrote the opinion, and he decides he still wants to rule the same way, and there's no appeal, then the answer is probably. But does this decision help anyone in the entire rest of the nation? No. And if you listen to Mark Smith, he basically says that we should kind of turn around and walk away from this, that it is not a good decision. You know, it's kind of like people when it comes to lawsuits, when it comes to judges and courts and decisions, that sort of thing, it's kind of like when you were a kid and you're asking mom and dad permission for something. You know, it doesn't really act that way. It's not like you're saying, hey, courts, can I have permission to do this? And then whatever the court says goes, and it's crystal clear. And, you know, like, yeah, you can go spend the night at little Johnny's house, you know. It's much more complicated than that. And on the other hand, it's actually a little bit like that. Like, let's say you do want to go spend the night at little Johnny's house, and you say, hey, mom and dad, can I go spend the night at little Johnny's house? And they say, yeah, you can go spend the night at little Johnny's house. Okay, does that mean that you can spend the night at little Johnny's house tomorrow night too, and next week, and whenever you want? You know, and you can go over to little Johnny's house without ever having to ask them permission again? No, they mean in this very narrow situation. Tonight, when you're asking, hey, can I go spend the night at little Johnny's house? Can I do that tonight? Yes, they only mean tonight in this circumstance. What if I wanted to spend the night at another kid? His name also happens to be Johnny. No, that's not what they meant. So it's that same way with the court. They really, really kind of parse this thing out. It has to be exact. It's very, very intricate. And anyway, listen to Mark Smith. He does a really good job on this. It's worth the listen. You know, I think a lot of the times there's maybe a little too many details out there, and I try to just boil it down to what you need to know. But in this case, I think you should listen to Mark Smith. So Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael from Gun Owners Radio. If you liked what you saw, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and make a comment. Help us out. Go to gunownersradio.com. Thanks for watching.